The Timberwolves are not even in the playoffs, and there's been two players that took shots at the Timberwolves. We'll talk about that, as well as there's a player making big-time headlines that the Timberwolves should have kept. That's coming up next on The Ron Johnson Show.
Locked On Sports Minnesota Podcasts. It's endless Minnesota Vikings talk with the diverse voices of your local experts. Now The Ron Johnson Show. On the field, in the broadcast booth, Ron Johnson is Minnesota sports. He's played with them, hung out with them, and grown up with all the big names in Minnesota sports. They're hanging out with Ron Johnson. It's the Ron Johnson Show on the Locked On Sports Minnesota podcast. And it starts now.
Hey everyone, this is Ron Johnson. This is the Ron Johnson Show on Locked On Sports Minnesota. Remember, this episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of Locked On. Just make every moment more by visiting FanDuel.com/Locked On today to get started. Well, today's show, we are going to talk about the NBA playoffs, but it could have looked so different. And the Timberwolves had two scenarios that could have changed the scope of how the playoffs are as we see them now. And we're going to break that down, but also we're going to play a little flagrant one, flagrant two. There's a couple basketball-related topics. And the Timberwolves, again, taking straight bullets. Like the national media, I don't know if they don't like them. I don't know if other players just seem to hold it close to their vest. Or maybe because we're just invested in the Timberwolves. And so as we see these things, we're like, why are you bringing up the Timberwolves right now? They're not even in the playoffs. But the Timberwolves keep coming up every so often. And the Warriors have a former Timberwolf and Andrew Wiggins. And the Lakers have a few former Timberwolves, one of which is D'Angelo Russell. And so we're going to break that down as I bring my co-hosts to the show, Sam Exum. I want everybody to remember, Amazon Fire and Roku, people, you can download the Locked On Sports Minnesota app. Just go to Amazon Fire and Roku. Just go to your Amazon Fire Roku device, search Locked On Sports Minnesota. You can download our show right there to your TV, get all of our videos, all of our shows. Well, Sam, I'm going to give you a few scenarios.
Yeah.
One, the Timberwolves could have beat the Lakers in the play-in and been the 7th seed and played Memphis. So we'll start there. In this scenario, the Timberwolves play the Grizzlies. Now, the Grizzlies imploded, but they imploded, and we know it's all about energy and effort, and I always love the quote, and I don't even know if this is a real quote. I just seen it in movies and in a date movie. Energy is not lost. It is just transferred from one person to the next, and I think that is right. But here's how they used it in the movie I saw. And I know you didn't see this movie, so I'm not going to even ask you, Sam. It was two can play this game with Morris Chestnut and Vivica A. Fox. I know you didn't see it. But it's a date movie where they're dating and they're the best couple and then they break up. And the whole thing is about two can play this game. Like she breaks up with him, then he tries to make her feel bad about it. Then he gets back at her. And basically the whole goal is they just keep fighting back and forth. And the goal is to not be the angry person within the breakup. And then in the end, I don't even remember how the movie ends. So people go watch it. It was a long time. It was like the 90s. But two can play this game. Like that's what that energy reminds. And so when you look at energy, the energy within the playoff series of the Memphis Grizzlies was that they had it. They had the energy. They had the like youthfulness. They had the bounce. And Dylan Brooks shifted the energy to the Lakers with his stupid comments about I poke bears and he's old and you got to put 40 on me for you to respect me. Sure, why? Like why? Now, if they win, he can keep talking. But look, he went from the Shannon Sharp argument issue and him and Shannon Sharp got into it. Everybody didn't know what side to take. Shannon Sharp took the high road and apologized. Dylan Brooks never actually apologized for his doing. Steven Adams never apologized, because people keep saying, like, and we'll talk about this too with Jokic, because that's coming up in flagrant 1 or 2, about players advancing towards fans versus fans advancing towards players. There's two different sides of this, malice in the palace, so on and so forth. But Steven Adams approaching Shannon Sharp, as we brought this down before, there's no reason to go approach Shannon Sharp as he's talking to Dylan Brooks. They're just having conversation. Now, it was aggressive, but it was fun. It was lighthearted. And he said, LeBron's too big for you. In the end, he was. So is Shannon Sharp wrong? No. In the end, if we go all the way back I told you so. And Shannon Sharp's not going to do it, so I'll do it for Shay Shay. I told you so. Shannon Sharp said LeBron was too big for you, Dillon Brooks. And in the end, you were on his hip, and you said, I'm going to make him go left because he don't want to go left. He finished that game off by going left on you. And I don't know if he got an and one, but he got a big-time layup. I think it was an and one. So in the end, Shannon Sharp was right. Now, the whole thing happened, T. Moran, John Moran, everybody jumping involved. But Shannon Sharp was right. Dillon Brooks, LeBron is too big for you. And you had him tired, exhausted, on the ropes. And instead of keeping your mouth shut and just playing basketball, you decided to poke a bear. And that bear woke up and beat you. You're the Grizzlies, but you're not the biggest bear in the park. Clearly, it's LeBron. And so this whole situation, when you look at that scope of that, that's why the Lakers. Now, the Timberwolves, I go to the Timberwolves with this. Sam, I don't think the Timberwolves would have had any type of energy. Like, there's no bears to poke on the Timberwolves. Besides Rudy Gobert, that's the bear. Rudy Gobert. That's the only bear that I think Dillon Brooks would poke. Anthony Edwards is a nice guy, killer, player, shooter, go at it. But he's not a bear. Karl-Anthony Towns is a teddy bear. Great player, one of the best big man shooters in the NBA, but he's not a bear. Rudy Gobert, just the name fits. Now, possibly like a Jaden McDaniels maybe, Naz Reid maybe, could be the angry, aggressive player, but they both were out with injury. So in the end, there would have been no bears to poke. So I think Memphis just walks away with that. Now, maybe they bring up some old energy from before we have some protesters, some glue gal stuff. Who knows? But I don't think that the same energy is brought to the NBA playoffs if it's Timberwolves, Grizzlies. Now, I know people that try to create it, but I don't think it would have been there. I don't know, Sam. What do you think?
Well, I just find it interesting to think about the Lakers not even being in the playoffs if the Wolves finish off that game. Because remember, the Lakers would have had to go and win a game just to be the 8th seed.
Right, against the Thunder.
They would have had to beat the Thunder. Now, they probably do, but in a one-game situation, they might not have. They might have missed the playoffs entirely. They would have had to play the Nuggets in the first round while the Wolves played the Grizzlies. Do you think the Lakers get by the Nuggets, Ron, with Jokic and Murray? I think that would have been a good matchup. Do you think the Lakers actually come out of that series?
You know what? So my gut reaction is yes, because of how they're playing. But this is the thing. I think Dillon Brooks set this in motion. I don't know if the Nuggets have a conversation piece like that. I don't think they have a player that's going to, other than Aaron Gordon, because we know Aaron Gordon plays bully ball. And so maybe Aaron Gordon tries to bully LeBron. LeBron wakes up and starts to bully him back. Because, I mean, me and LeBron are the same way on the court. I played yesterday, and this guy was like, man, your mid-range game is just, and, I was like, you know what? Well, once y'all start talking, then I'm going to start attacking. And I think that's how LeBron plays. Like he kind of, because Steph Curry and Draymond Green, Draymond Green talked about it probably Steph Curry was like, I got to figure this LeBron guy out, man. Like he didn't take a shot in the first quarter and he ends up with 21 points. Like how? Like he didn't take a shot. And he's like, how does he because LeBron plays when it's necessary. He takes the shots when it's necessary. He empowers other players on the court. And I think that's the key, because we'll talk about that in D'Lo's comments. I think D'Lo's comments were well understood. They were, I guess, properly said, but I think the context matters. And we'll talk about that in segment 2 in Flagrant 1 and Flagrant 2 with D'Lo, because I understand where he's going. But this is not about that right now. We're going to stick to this playoff situation. So you look at that. So I think, yes, Sam, I think the Lakers could have beat the Nuggets. I think they could have found a way, but I definitely don't think it would have been in 5. I think it would have been in 7. I definitely think they could have beat them down the stretch, though, because again, Jokic and AD, which we might end up getting, Jokic and we're going to get the Lakers for sure. I don't know if the Nuggets can get past the Suns, and we'll talk about that, but Jokic and AD to me is a nice situation, plus Jokic and LeBron. LeBron is just as strong. He's faster, and he's smarter. Like he watches enough film. Like that's not a bad switch off for LeBron if somehow they're in a pick and pop situation. Because AD and LeBron can guard anybody. Like that's the one thing about those two. Even AD guarding, when you watch him guard Steph, I mean, And you watch LeBron guard Steph. I mean, these are two guys that play guard. Like AD was a guard, and then he just grew to 6'10". But he can still guard. Like you see him, he's comfortable up there guarding Steph Curry at the top. And he knows I'm longer. So if he gets a step on me, I can still catch up and block it. Same with LeBron. And so some thought behind that is that I think the Lakers could have beat the Nuggets. But here's the other situation, Sam. Timberwolves lose to the Timberwolves lose to the Lakers. But then they beat the Nuggets. Say they beat the Nuggets and do what the Heat did. I don't think the Suns Timberwolves series is what the Suns Nuggets series is. I just don't. Now, I think the Suns have the momentum. I think Kevin Durant is figuring this thing out now. Him and Devin Booker both going for 36. I don't think the Timberwolves can handle that firepower. Two players scoring 72 points. Jokic had to score 53 just to stay in the game. Two players, 36 points each. Like, pick your poison. Pick your poison. Jokic had to score. I don't think there's a Timberwolves player that would even think to score 53. Like, I just feel like the Timberwolves aren't built that way. Like, and maybe it is Tim Connelly. And we'll talk about him maybe exiting the Timberwolves in the next segment, because maybe that's the way to go. Because I don't know if he's unlocking the potential. Like, Darvin Ham is unlocking the potential of those players when you talk about Austin Reeves being one of the top, Lonnie Walker the fourth, like coming out of nowhere having a baller game, 16 points in the fourth quarter. But here's how the series looks right now, Sam. Teams that are 264-13 when they're up 3-1. Sorry, teams are 264-13 when they're up 3-1. So the Heat right now up 3-1 on the Knicks. Lakers up 3-1 on the Warriors. Of those 13, we know LeBron's part of that because he beat Steph Curry when he was down 3-1, and he came back and won him a championship. Some people are saying this world is a simulator and it's scripted, and Steph Curry gets his get back. He gets to get back at LeBron now and come back 3-1, and it's history, and Steph Curry is on the Mount Rushmore, because we were like, if Steph Curry wins this and wins a ring, you could take LeBron off Mount Rushmore and you put Steph up there. Shut up. You can't do that. You just need to add another. Like, one, I'm not even going to talk about Mount Rushmore and what that actually signifies, but we could have a fifth person on the mountain. Steph Curry could just be on the mountain. But the West, right now, you got the 1 versus 4, you got the 6 versus 7. That wasn't how it was supposed to be. I don't think anybody thought it would probably be 2 versus 6, not 6 versus 7. I think people thought Warriors, Grizzlies. That was always the conversation. In the East, you got 2 versus 3, which is how it's supposed to be. But then you got 5 versus 8. That should have been a 1 versus 5, where it should have been Bucks versus Knicks. And I think the Bucks get by them unless Giannis is his back, because we know his back, he fell. But this is a very unorthodox playoffs when you got the 8th seed up and you got the 7th seed up, and the 1 and 4 and 2 and 3 are doing what they're supposed to do, which they're tied 2-2. So this is a very exciting series for the fact that the lower seeds are up 3-1. So everybody's gonna be watching. Can they close Mountain 5? And they're gonna close Mountain 5 on their home, like away courts. They're gonna be away. And so I saw Charles Barkley joking about this, like, you might as well just lose at home so you don't have to get back on a flight, go down to Miami. Talk about the Knicks, like going back to Miami just to lose in Miami and they have to fly home. And then Shaq's like, well, maybe they want to lose in Miami so they can be in Miami. He said, why don't you just lose in Miami and then book a flight? Then you got all your stuff. And then there's all these jokes because Kenny, I don't know if you saw the picture, Sam, on TMZ, but Kenny had a nice little young date. Yeah, a little date R&R situation down to the F1. And then he tried to throw Shaq in, like, you know, Shaq was with me. And Shaq was like, no, I wasn't. No, do not put me in this. Because Shaq's like, I got a girl already. Don't put me in your drama. Like, don't bring me in your drama. And so I love I love that storyline of like, just lose at home in New York, then go to Miami. And Shaq's like, no, they might want to go to Miami again, Kenny. I know you want to go, you know, and then they got to that. But when you think about that, it's the same thing for the Warriors. Now, the good thing for the Warriors and the Lakers, both are on the West Coast. Both are in California. So it's like, whatever. Like, if we lose, it's a short little flight back home. Or if we win, we can stay home. Either way, they were joking because I think Steph and Clay are playing in a golf challenge versus, was it Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes? And they were saying, like, Charles Barkley was like, well, why is this scheduled for June? You might as well schedule it for May because they're going to be free in about a week. So, and, you know, of course, Ernie Johnson trying to keep the show on the roll, or sorry, on the rails. Like, no, we can't do that. But Sam, in both situations, and I don't know, to close it out, get to the second segment, because we got some great questions coming up in the flagrant 1 or flagrant 2. I just don't think the playoffs would be what they are. East would be what it is. Exciting. It's fun to watch. Jimmy Butler. And talking about shots too, and we'll get to that in the flagrant 1 and 2. But here's some shots for you, because we're going to jump into the flagrant 1 and 2. But my thought is it would be the same. I don't think the Timberwolves would have made it as fun. I don't know. What do you think?
I tend to think the Wolves would not have won a 7-game series with the injuries they had.
Correct. With the injuries,
I think the most interesting scenario to me is if they don't get hurt. If they have Nas and they have McDaniels, could they have knocked off a team? And I think the answer might have been yes. Yeah. They could have maybe done what the Lakers are doing. They could have won a series in 6, taken the next team to the brink, like the Lakers have done with the Warriors. Mm-hmm. The West was super wide open. We knew that, Ron. We knew the West was open.
Right. Yeah. We said that from
and the
start.
Lakers are proving it. The Lakers are proving why.
The fact that a 6 and a 7 now are going to go in a 7. I don't know, and maybe we'll have to get the research team on this, Sam, but I don't think a 7 seed ever made it to the Western Conference Finals. I'd be interested to see if that ever happened, if a 7 seed made it to the Western Conference Finals, let alone the NBA Finals, because I think they can beat the Nuggets. And here's the thing. I think the Lakers can beat the Nuggets. I don't think the Lakers can beat the Suns. Like, I think the Lakers can beat the Nuggets. I think Kevin Durant has LeBron's, like, number, because Kevin Durant doesn't talk. Devin Booker talks. Some of the Suns players get antsy and chatty and fun, but Kevin Durant is an absolute, like, he's like Harrison Smith. He's a hitman. He's a cold-blooded killer. He does not talk. He just will shoot your lights out and give you bucket after elbow, free throw, three-pointer from the logo, and he does not talk. He just walks down the court and does his job. So here's a couple shots, though, that were fired at the Timberwolves for no reason. And we're going to jump into this in this next segment. But here's some things to chew on. D'Lo, he said the Wolves held him back. Shot. Jimmy Butler, he said, why would I remember my time in Minnesota? It was so short, and it was not that memorable. Shot. They said Walker Kessler is really, really good. Shouldn't have traded for Rudy Gobert. Timberwolves organization are quote-unquote clowns, because they went back to the Steph Curry and the other stuff and the Johnny Flynn and shot. Like, so many shots after shots after shots. I felt like the song, shot, 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 shot on the Timberwolves. Like, everybody's just taking, like, they're catching stray bullets and they're just at home chilling. They're like, I know their organization's looking like, why is D'Lo talking about us? Why is Jimmy Butler talking about us? Why is Walker Kessler like, and this is a Testimony Tuesday, people, on the Ron Johnson Show. So coming up in the second segment, I do have a testimony I have to give. I'm going to testify in the second segment. I'm going to testify on a player, because I do have some things, maybe 2 apologies, maybe 2 I got to testify twice, maybe. I got to put it down for the locked on court. I want to get locked in on my testimony, and we'll do that coming up next on the Ron Johnson Show. But we have a word from our sponsors.
We're brought to you today by FanDuel Sportsbook. Get on a fast break and run to FanDuel for the rest of the NBA playoffs. New customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. New customers also have access to great promotions at FanDuel. I've seen a bet 5 get 150 in bonus bets recently on FanDuel. Make sure you claim that before it expires. Safe and secure, easy to use FanDuel Sportsbook app where you get paid instantly after you win. There's no better place to bet the playoff action than at America's #1 sportsbook. That's NBA playoffs and NHL playoffs. FanDuel.com/locked-on. The no sweat first bet up to $1,000 back in bonus bets. FanDuel.com/locked-on. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Well, it's time for a little flagrant 1 or flagrant 2. Sam's going to ask the questions. I'm going to go to the monitor. Take it away, Sam.
All right, Ron, I want you to gauge how flagrant these statements or stories are. And we start with the one that you alluded to, D'Angelo Russell taking a shot at the Timberwolves. Here's the full quote. I felt like I was held back there, honestly. I just kind of had to be the third option. Some nights I was a little more aggressive and was kind of being held back. So to be in a position now where I can kind of thrive and be aggressive and it gets guys going and where the team reflects off of anybody with that type of energy, it's fun. Now, let me first give you some context. D'Angelo Russell last night, he shot 1 for 10 with 4 points.
Yep.
Was he held back in Minnesota, Ron? Is that statement a flagrant 1 or flagrant 2?
Timeout. Go to the monitor. Yeah, I'm going to say that's a flagrant 2. You're out of here, buddy. They get 2 shots in the ball. But here's where I go with this. It is a flagrant 2 because just say I feel like they held me back and then stop. Stop and held me back. He was on to something. But then when he started to try to like explain what he meant, he went too far. It's like the wind up. Like, okay, you had the block, but then you stood over him, or like you were in position, but then you wound up and came down and hit him. That's why it's a flagrant 2. It's a flagrant 2 only because he continued on. Like, you're hanging on to the rim. Just let go. They held me back. Next question. Move on. Here's why I believe they did. Because if you pick apart some of the stuff he said, it's great to feed off the energy. So what energy? LeBron and AD. LeBron and AD, the Lakers fans. You talk about Austin Reeves and how he's like him, as he says it. That's where I think he's saying he's held back. That offense is free. That offense has a lot of freedom. It's AD, then it's LeBron, then it's Austin Reeves. Everybody has the ability to take the shot. LeBron is the consummate offensive starter, meaning he's willing to, like, he was knocked for being a pass first star, but look what it does to his team. It gives them all the confidence to shoot, where I think D'Lo, and even as fans, we were like, D'Lo, don't shoot that. Give it to Anthony Edwards. Like, there's no freedom in that game. And then there's no like energy. Like, Anthony Edwards is not a high energy guy unless he dunks on somebody. Karl-Anthony Towns is not a high energy guy. LeBron just has it. Like, him and AD just have that like after every, like, it's just what they have. Austin Reeves, he just has that where he's going to say, I'm him. That's a flagrant 2. I do believe he was held back. I think Tim Connelly, like, I don't know what the situation is in that offense, but I don't feel like they had a true plan. But yeah, it's a flagrant 2. What you got next?
Yeah, and is D'Angelo saying that he's better than the third option in LA?
Yeah, no. So yeah, and then again, that's the other part of the flagrant 2. Like, to say like I was more than the third, I was the third option, and I think what he's saying is we don't have quote unquote options. Like, it's an offense.
Yeah,
because he's definitely not the first option in LA. He's not the second option in LA. And most of the time, he's not the third option in LA. Austin Reeves has become that. He basically is the fourth or fifth option. Fourth, I'd say. Some nights he could be the first, and that's what I think he's saying is like, there's nights when once I'm going, LeBron's gonna keep looking for me. Where when he got going with the Wolves, it would die because then it would have to go to Karl, because Karl-Anthony Towns like, man, I haven't touched the ball like 3 times down the court. Give me the ball. And then he shoots like a fadeaway 3-pointer, and everybody's like, what the heck are you doing? So I think that's where he's saying, like, the offense didn't have a flow where LeBron, like Steph Curry said, LeBron didn't take a shot in the first quarter and ended up with 21. Like, LeBron's okay with that. Where I don't think Karl-Anthony Towns would be okay with not getting a shot in the first quarter. Like, I think he would be pouting. I don't think he would run up and down the court. Because people always say, reward the big man for his rebounds. LeBron was playing defense, blocks, rebounds. He didn't need to be rewarded. The reward is the win. LeBron is and that's the difference. But yeah, I just think he's saying there's no options, because they even said, like, as a point guard, he's like, I'm not a point guard. We're just all basketball players. And he was very like irate about that too. Like, no, don't stop saying I'm a point guard. I'm not. We're just a team. We're all basketball players. And it is true that LeBron's the point forward, and he brings the ball to the court. Austin Reeves brings the ball to the court. Like, it's just, they all get it going different ways. Darvin Ham has done a great job. So yeah, what you got next?
Yeah. Tim Connelly made the Gobert deal. He signed a 5-year, $40 million contract last year, and he's only been here for 1 season, Ron. But the rumbling is that he has been connected to the Washington Wizards team president job, which is close to his hometown out east. And he hasn't exactly shot it down to say, I'm not going to take the job. He's been pressed on it, and he hasn't committed either way. So is Connelly, considering the Wizards, is that a flagrant 1 or a flagrant 2 or a common foul?
I'm gonna say common foul. And this is why, like, in this world, like, it's not like he's going to be the head coach there. He's getting a raise. He's getting more power within the organization. If it was just like, oh, he wants to be their head coach because they're going to pay him $1 million more, I'd say flagrant 2. Because you signed this 5-year deal, you screwed up this team, live with it. Like, be a captain, go down with the ship. You know, like the dude said in Captain Phillips, I think it was the movie. I'm the captain. Look at me. I'm the captain now. Like, that's what I feel like Tim Connelly did to the Timberwolves. Like, he ruined it. He has hijacked the ship, and he has traded away all the goods. And now and everybody's like, man, what are you doing? Shut. Look at me. I'm the captain now. And that's what Tim Connelly did to the Timberwolves organization. Because that was, I mean, we'll talk about that next. But that was, oh my goodness. But yeah, so I'd say common foul just because he's getting a raise. He's getting more ownership. He's getting promoted. The whole goal is for everybody. Coaches, assistant coaches want to be head coaches. Head coaches want to be GMs. GMs want to be presidents. Presidents want to be, I don't know what's next after that, owners. You know, like everybody wants to elevate. It's like within a company, you know, the cashiers want to become supervisors. Supervisors want to become managers. Managers want to become GMs, and GMs want to become territory managers, and so on and so forth. Like, it's always about the next, what's next. Actively looking, but being contented where you're at. So I think he's content, but I just don't know. I don't know if he's happy with, like, this team completely got revamped and went backwards. You're still in the play-in game. Like, you went backwards and ended up in 8th seed because they were the 7th seed the year before, right?
Correct.
Yeah. You went backwards. That's what I don't get. You did all of this to go backwards. And that's that for me, but it's still a common foul. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that it's about a flagrant 1. I mean, I think that to flirt with another job after 1 year of a very generous deal here in Minnesota, I mean, I get it. You know, you want to go be closer to your home. Like, that's a very human urge to do.
Right.
But yeah, to have kind of made a mess and then to run away and not clean up the pieces, that it feels just a little bit icky to me. So I'm going to say flagrant 1. Yeah. Let's talk about part of that deal with our next one here. So Walker Kessler was a throw-in, Ron. He was just a little sweetener at the end of that Rudy Gobert trade. He goes to the Jazz, and he was named to the All-NBA Rookie First Team.
Yep.
So was the Wolves' decision to add Kessler to that trade, was that a flagrant 1 or a flagrant 2?
Here's the thing about flagrant 1 and flagrant 2, and I've been watching a lot of basketball. I mean, basketball is my first love. When you look at the whole gist of it, because LeBron, I don't know if you saw that, was looked at for flagrant 1 or flagrant 2 because of his bump on Draymond. The cause and effect. LeBron's looking for the ball, reaches as he's coming down. He kind of bumps Draymond's lower half. Draymond falls, hits his head on the ground hard, and he's down for a while. Assumed a concussion, maybe just trying to play it up to get LeBron a flagrant 1 or 2 and get him thrown out. Because we know Draymond's smart. But he did hit his head hard. But when you think about that, that's the effect. You can't look at what happened during the fight. Like, you can't look at after the fact, like, oh, he flew into the crowd and blah, blah. Like, that's on Draymond at that point because LeBron didn't push him or touch him. Draymond just kind of lost his, like, he just lost it. His neck was weak. I don't know. Needs to do more neck exercises. Football, that's all we do is neck exercise. Like, he needs to do that. But I'm going to say flagrant 1 just because we can't look at the effect. We can't look at the effect of what happened after. I say flagrant 1 because it was a little bit weird. Like, why make the trade for Gobert? Like, what are you lacking? Like, were you lacking defense? Or were you just lacking somebody to come in and help out Karl-Anthony Towns every now and then, maybe play with Karl-Anthony Towns to take the pressure off the bigs? And here's my testimony. I got to testify. Maybe I'm testifying for the Timberwolves organization. Walker Kessler, as Shaq would say, I apologize. I was not familiar with your game. I did not know you had it like that. I did not realize you were Rudy Gobert light or Rudy Gobert years ago. I apologize. Because Walker Kessler is a solid big. He doesn't he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. Now, again, maybe the coach there unlocked what he could do, but the kid could block. He can rebound. He's athletic. He's young. So you're getting him on a young contract. Like, you could have had him for 3 to 4 years to play alongside Karl-Anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards. At that time, maybe keep D'Lo. Maybe that's your 5 or 6 seed. Because that kid, one, is not going to punch a teammate. That kid is going to be a team first guy. That kid's not going to have like rest and get hurt. Like, he's going to be around. He's not going to have back problems. Like, he's got a young back. He's got a young back and a flat stomach. Great recipe for a big man. So, again, I think flagrant one, because we can't look at what happened after the fact as far as where he's at now and all rookie NBA team and the team being the 8th seed. But I do think it's a flagrant, because that was, in my opinion, that was a dumb trade. Like, I don't even think you need to throw him in there. You probably could have got Rudy Gobert without him. Like, you still could have gave him all those first round picks and kept him. But I don't think you should ever got Rudy Gobert. That's just me personally. I don't think Rudy Gobert does enough to make it worth it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to say common foul, just because I don't think anybody knew at all. Like, most of the time, first round picks in the 20s are late bloomers. A lot of them are busts. It's really hard to predict. And I don't think Utah had any knowledge. I mean, if they had known that Walker Kessler was going to be this good, the Wolves would not have had to give up so many first round picks. True. Like, nobody had any idea that Walker Kessler was going to be an all rookie team member.
Right.
So I just think I think they rolled the dice. They said, what are the odds this guy works out? And he worked out really, really well. And the Wolves have a lot of egg on their face. Would have been nice to have him.
For years. They're going to have for years, because he might end up being one of the better, not great big men, but like solid big men.
Well, look at what Utah's building, Ron. Utah's got 80 first-round picks now in the next 5 drafts. They're going to be so good.
Yeah.
And Walker Kessler's going to be at the middle of it. He might be part of a dynasty. Who knows?
Who knows? Well, we're going to jump into a little daily 3. That's 3 questions, 3 minutes each with myself and Sam. Got some great questions in there, too. Little bit of Washington football team stuff. Again, they stay in the news. But remember, people, Sirius XM Radio is now a proud partner with Locked On Sports. You can just catch the Twins playing the Padres tonight at 6:40 Central. The Twins are looking to get their offense going because, 0-2, come on. You got to at least get 1 run. Did you even pinch the team? Did you pinch the Guardians? Like 0-2? You let them take 2 games from you Twins? Come on now. You're better than that. But they're going to get the bats going at Target Field. You can catch every pitch of the Twins' hometown broadcast with Sirius XM on the XSXM app. Just search Twins. Well, Sam, it's time for the Daily 3. That's 3 questions, 3 minutes each. Take it away.
Andrew Luck is back in the news. Apparently, the Washington Commanders contacted Andrew Luck about coming out of retirement, which is an illegal tampering maneuver, by the way. Do you think that Andrew Luck could still play if he played today?
Ooh. Well, I know he left because of injury. He said his body felt beat up. He's probably rested. He's probably well rested now. I would say yes. He's playing quarterback. He's not coming back to play offensive line where he still has to be in shape and lift and super. Like, he's not coming back to play receiver where he has to be super quick and aggy and twitchy. He's not coming back to play running back where he's going to take a ton of hits. He's not coming back to play DB where he's making a ton of tackles and linebacker. He's coming back to play quarterback, the most protected position in the NFL. The position that gets all the money. The guy that gets all the girls. Yes, I think Andrew Luck could, because I agree with Cam Newton. I don't agree with how Cam Newton worded it, but I do agree with him that I don't believe there's 32 quarterbacks better than Andrew Luck right now in the NFL. And so I do think he could come back and would be a great piece to somebody's team. Now, does he want to come back? Who knows? Is it tampering? Who cares? Because the NFL owners, we know there's some backdoor deals happening. We already heard about the Arizona Cardinals and their drama, and they had burner phones. They were contacting their GM when he was supposed to be suspended with burner phones, and the coaches and the staff, and people are telling everybody now, like, oh, here's a burner phone. Just use this to contact the NFL. We'll never know. So say what you want to say. It's just like a drug dealer telling on a thief. Come on. Like, you're both wrong. It's just your time now to tell on them. I watch a lot of Ghost. I know you don't know about that, Sam, but Ghost Power Book. It's a 50 Cent created show on the Stars app, on the Stars Network. Great show. And I think it's on Showtime. I don't forget where it actually airs, or HBO. Maybe it's HBO, but it's on the Stars app though. And 50 Cent does a great job. But that's one of the things happening right now. There's a Ponzi scheme happening at a firm, which is real life, which I'm guessing 50 has inside information about this, because they always say this is not about real stuff. These are fictitious situations that have never actually happened. Sure, 50. But there's a Ponzi scheme happening right now at a law firm or a investment firm. And within that same investment firm, one of the other partners is dealing drugs. And so they're all holding each other hostage. Like, well, if you tell, I'm going to tell on you. Well, if I tell on you, then you tell on me, So there's like all this stuff. So, and that's what I feel like with the owners. It's like a drug dealer telling on a thief. Like, you could tell on them, but you got your own, like the Washington football team has drama, but the coach, you guys have had drama too. So let's not forget about some of the stuff your owner has done in the past. So everybody has their own issues. Is it wrong to contract Aaron Drew-Luck if he wanted to play? I don't think so, but that's just me. I don't know. What do you think, Sam?
Well, I think it's funny how desperate Washington is. They've gone yet another offseason without really figuring out the quarterback spot.
True.
Sam Howell. I don't know if Andrew Luck could come back and be the same guy. Like, I think he could do some stuff, get the job done, maybe be one of the best 32 quarterbacks.
Right.
But I don't know if it's like riding a bike. I don't know if 4.5 years off, you could come back and be the same guy. You could be a guy, but not, in my opinion, not the same guy.
Yeah. What you got
before.
next?
Yeah. Let's go back to the NBA playoffs. Nikola Jokic was in the meat grinder for shoving, elbowing, love tapping the Suns owner.
Yeah.
On the side of the basketball court. He was holding the ball. Jokic wanted it back. Brief confrontation. Owner got pushed. And there was some question whether Jokic was going to be suspended. He will not be suspended. But Ron, would you, if you were Adam Silver, would you have suspended Nikola Jokic?
No. I think everybody involved it was a dumb move. The owner, I think he was holding the ball because he wasn't paying attention and he was just trying to get his player up. Jokic, the referee, it's not your ball. Like, this is not soccer. You can't just start a fast break passing without giving it to the ref. And my guess is once the ref had got it, he was going to check to make sure the Suns were at full strength, meaning you can't just jump into the crowd and then we're going to start the game because he's run up. Like when LeBron ran up the tunnel, when he jumped over. You can't just start the next series because until LeBron is back on the court to play, because it's a dead ball at that point, and now you have to let everybody get back to full strength. This is not soccer. This is not some kind of hockey thing where there's a line change and you can try to hurry up and go before they jump over the boards. Like, you can't. So, yeah, it's not one of those situations. So, in that instance, because I know Chris Paul used to do that a ton. He does that a ton, actually. He tries to hurry up and get the ball in, get it from the ref, and get the fast break going before the guys get down. But the difference is you still have to wait for a player to get back onto the court that has fallen off the court, had the ball, and it was a dead ball. So Jokic was just overreacting, and I think that's why he got fined. The owner should have probably just let the ball go, but I think he felt somebody tug, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And then I think when he realized it was Jokic, it was just one of those things like, "Why are you trying to take the ball from me?" Like, dude, like, I'm gonna give it back to you. And then of course it flies into the crowd because he's like, he yanks it out of his hands, and then it's not the owner who touches him; it's that other fan who kind of puts his hand on like his side or shoulder. That guy gets kicked out the arena, not because the owner never touched him. The owner just has the ball, gets it taken, and then Jokic shoves him. But it's that guy in the black to the right or to the owner's right that actually is the one that touched Jokic that got kicked out. Now Jokic is like, oh, they're supposed to protect us. Well, then don't go into like you went into the crowd to get the ball. Why are you reaching over like a baby trying to get a ball from the crowd? Like, to be protected, just stay in the out of bounds area where you're supposed to be. Don't go into the crowd. So both are wrong. I think that's why both got a fine, and then they're going to move on. What do you think?
I think it was a flop on the owner's part. I thought
Maybe.
There's a flopping call, technical foul. I think he sold it. I also think that Jokic needs to keep his hands off. I mean, I think they're both in the wrong. I think that this was the correct legislation. We don't need to. And you know what? The owner did the right thing. The owner came out on Twitter and said no one should be suspended.
Right.
That's good. That's good because it would benefit his team greatly if Jokic got suspended. I'm really glad that he said that.
True.
All right, last one. Lakers are up 3-1 after a thriller last night at crypto.com arena. That still sounds weird to say. If the Lakers finish off the Warriors, is it the end of the Warriors dynasty as we know it?
No, I mean, Draymond may or may not leave. People are talking about that. Like, you know, I don't think they would want to switch it up just because you're the 6th seed. You're one of the hottest teams in the NBA. You have Jordan Poole, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and somehow you've managed to stay within the cap. And you have Draymond Green, and you drafted well. Those are all their players they've drafted. You have Gary Payton II. You have Andrew Wiggins. I don't know if Wiggins is looking for more money, if Draymond, what his contract might want to look like. But I think Draymond, somebody said this, and I agree. If Draymond were to try to leave and go elsewhere and get more money, like, I don't know, Lakers, who knows, it would be career suicide. Because I don't think any other organization is going to have an offense built where Draymond can do what he does, which is just be out there and give you 6 to 8 points every once in a while, maybe 12. But like he's like that AD play. I don't know if you saw where he kind of yo-yoed it behind his back to the side of the defender, almost like a nutmeg, but AD's legs weren't open. He wasn't between them. But it was like kind of like a teleport, and where you kind of in the teleport, Sam, I don't know if you know that, you throw it behind your back, but it goes through the other player's legs. And so they stop to look down at the ball. And then when they look up, you're gone and you teleport it behind them. And so it's kind of like here, now I'm here, now I'm not. And so when Steph Curry runs around, normally he hands the ball off to Steph. So it's a great play because he took it around his back as if, oh, I'm handing it off to Steph. Nope, I'm coming back and I'm keeping it because AD stepped up to try to stop, hedge Steph so he can't get open three. And then, of course, Draymond goes, lays it up. That's not going to work unless he's on a team with 3 shooters. And there's not another team other than the Suns, and I don't think the Suns would take Draymond. I don't think it would work, but maybe. That's the only other place I could see it fitting because you have Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. I do know Draymond and KD had their drama back in the day, but again, maybe we're in a simulator where Draymond has to lick his wounds and go apologize like, Kevin, I apologize. And I think they have apologized because he was on his podcast or something, and he has apologized for all the drama they had there. And Kevin Durant saying he felt like he wasn't protecting that situation and he got made out to be the bad guy when Draymond was the one saying, like, we didn't want you anyway. You this, and that, talking bad about him. And that's why he left. And Draymond apologized, saying, man, if we had kept you and just kept my mouth shut, they would have 7 rings probably by now. If they had kept that core together, because Kevin Durant basically is 3 times better than Jordan Poole, they would have like Klay, Steph, and KD. That's 4 rings. That's easily 4 rings in the scope of what we saw the last couple of years from winners. So, no, I don't think the dynasty is over, but I do think if Draymond leaves, he's going to commit career suicide because I don't think there's another offense that's going to run like that. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I've come away from the Warriors this year always thinking that their success is kind of their undoing and that Curry and Thompson have earned the right to shoot from wherever they want and whenever they want.
True.
And I think that's kind of burning them right now. Like you watched the Lakers Warriors last night, Ron. You saw it. That there were so many bad shots taken with no passes, step backs from 29 feet, contested jumpers without any ball movement. The Warriors are at their best when they drive, kick, rotate the ball, catch and shoot. They don't need to put the ball on the floor. When they get into these dribble one-on-one ISO deals, I don't know if it works out great for them. I mean, and it's tough when at the end of the game, if you're not Steph or Klay, you're afraid to shoot. Like I think everybody's afraid to take the shot when it should be Steph or Klay. Right. And a lot of times the shots they ended up taking are very low percentage. So I think the dynasty is on life support. That's my answer. I think that it's in some serious trouble.
Oh, I don't know. I can never bet against Steph Curry. I just can't. Like Wardell, can't bet against him. That dude's a killer. He's one of the best shooters in NBA history. He's probably the best point guard, scoring guard, because I can't know if you can call him a true point guard, but he's the best scoring guard, in my opinion, in NBA history. Because Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan. He's not even in anybody's conversation. I'm sick of that. Don't put Michael Jordan with LeBron. Don't put Michael Jordan with Kobe. It's Michael Jordan. And then there's everybody else. Like if we had to do tiers, it would be Jordan is tier 1, And then everybody else we want to have these discussions with is tier 2, period. There's nobody's on Jordan's level only because of Jordan was a killer at all times. Now, I will say, if you look at some of the people guarding him, suspect. They were fans. They gave him a wide berth to get through the lane sometimes. Because we always talk about these bad boy foul days. That only happened against the Lakers, Pistons, and Celtics. The rest of those games, watch out. Jordan's coming through. I want to golf with him later. I want to have a cigar with him later. Don't touch him. I'm in that highlight. I know some of these guys now, because what is Jordan, in his 60s? There's some 60-year-old men out there now like, hey, baby, watch this. Watch this. See me? That was me right there when Jordan went by. Oh, look, there go Grandpa. Look at me. Look at me. I'm just standing there watching Michael Jordan. I know there's dudes doing that. I know that. Because I see videos all the time of myself with Ray Lewis. Like when Ray Lewis do it, like they have documentaries of him and Ed Reed, and they're doing the dance. Like a couple people when Ed Reed just had his thing, everybody was sending me stuff like, oh man, it's you and Ed Reed before the pump block. Like that's y'all out there pregame talking and y'all hyping each other up. Like that was you when Ray Lewis did Who Let the Dogs Out. Like I saw that. Like, yep, that was me. That's me right there. Look at me. That's Daddy.
It's the GIF. It's the GIF with Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the TV.
Yeah, like, yep, that's me.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I know there's some people out there doing it, Jordan. But yeah, Jordan's one. The rest of the NBA is below it. But Steph Curry, Wardell, Curry, can't ever.
We'll
bet
see if he
against
comes
them.
back
So,
in the series.
we'll
If they
see.
come back and win the
I don't
series,
think-
I'll change my
He's
tune.
got to win 3 games.
Yeah.
I don't think he can pull out 3. I do think though the Lakers are going to go to the Warriors, and they're going to. Darvin Ham is smart. He knows he has 3 games, and LeBron and them put in a lot of energy the last 2. I think he's going to figure out early, if we're not in this, I'm resting you, big fella, because I need you for game 6. Because I think last time he let them stay in the game a little too long on that blowout, and that almost came back, it almost hurt them because AD fell and LeBron was falling, jumping into the crowd. And it's like, dude, you're down 20. Like, just sit down. Let Austin Reeves and the other guys carry this thing to the end. Again, there's no lead safe in the NBA. We know that. But I think he's going to take a look at that, but we'll see. But I'm excited. NBA playoffs are great. Great show today, Sam. Great job on the script. Appreciate everything you do for me and the Ron Johnson Show and Locked On Sports. And remember, people, if you want Endless Vikings talk with local experts, make sure Endless Vikings talk, period. We're not all local. Make sure you subscribe to the Locked On Sports Minnesota YouTube channel, where you can find all of our videos, all of our shows, and podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartMedia app, SXM radio app. You can find it. Just search Locked On Sports Minnesota. Hit the subscribe button. We'll be right there with you along the way. Have a great Tuesday. This was another Testimony Tuesday, and I had to testify. Again, Walker Kessler, I was not familiar with your game, bro. Sorry about that. Have a good one, people.